Most people think the law of Moses was just a long list of rituals and sacrifices. Welcome everyone back to part 2. Now this is a short introduction to the long road of sacrifice in this new series. So here's a question to start us off with. What if the law, the one Jesus himself followed, what if that law was never meant to be about religion? Rather, it was about justice, it was about compassion, living in a covenant relationship with their God, Jehovah. You see, when Moses gave the law to the people he led out of Egypt and were about to enter into the land of promise to settle in, that law, it wasn't about forming a religion. No, it was about forming a people who would live differently from the nations around them. Now, before they entered that land, Moses reminded them to keep close in mind something crucially important. In Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4, we read just that. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. These words I am commanding you today are to be upon your hearts. Now, fast forward several hundred years, and God, using the prophet Micah this time as his mouthpiece, lays out a case against his covenant people. So what was that case? Well, in a private moment, please read the 16 verses in Micah chapter 6, because there you will find what the problem was. You see, these people had seriously broken that covenant in just about every respect. Fraud, corruption, violence, and idolatry, it had all become pretty well endemic in the nation's life. And right in the middle of that chapter 6 in Micah, they were reminded of the simple directions God had given them through Moses, and this was repeated now through the prophet Micah. Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the law require of you? But to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Anything there about sacrifices? No. It was about how they were to treat others and each other. Don't oppress the poor. Don't take bribes. Ensure there was food for the widows and the orphans. In other words, take care of the widows and orphans, a priority. The law was a covenant, a promise between God and his people built on love and not on rituals. Sadly, over time, that covenant became corrupted by power, by politics, by priestly control. However, there was a brief respite some 100 or so years later during the reign of one king. And in our longer video, coming on Thursday now, we will trace the story from Moses to this king, Josiah, and how God's original plan for worship was in fact nearly lost. Now, if you ever wondered how we got from the law of Moses to the religion of temples and priests and rituals and all that jazz, to quote a line from a famous song, well, look out for the longer, more informative video on Thursday, part 2, in this new series we're doing, The Long Road of Sacrifice. The coming episode, From the Covenant to Corruption, is where we briefly trace the history of a story we have never been taught. But we do need to keep it in mind, and we need to hear it now. And this will commence on Thursday. So until then, thank you very much. We'll see you then.